So if you saw my first video, then you pretty much done the necessary things that you need to do to enter the credit card game. You take care of wherever past loans and credit cards you have already. You got a emergency fund set up and ready to go. You made the decision of being a part of Team Travel and that you do want to take part in the credit card game. And there's other stuff that you need to do, and hopefully you took care of that. You took care of everything that I said in that first video. And now you're ready to step foot in the credit card game. But before we do that, you need to be aware that there are different types of credit cards. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, right off the bat, there's going to be two types of credit cards. So you're going to have personal credit cards and business credit cards. So a personal credit card is the more popular credit card that people are going to be using. And between the two, a personal credit card is the one that is more or less more easier to get. Now, the business credit card is, as it sounds, is a credit card that is geared towards your business. Now, this is mostly for those who run companies, who are managers or district managers or supervisors or whatever the case may be, and their company gave them this credit card for them to use. Or what ended up happening is this: they would give you a line of credit that they would reimburse you with once you use whatever form of payment that you use. And this is the only way you get a business credit card, where you basically say, hey, I pay for a bunch of stuff for my employees, I work for this company, here's my responsibilities, and this is what I'm paying for. And then they'll normally say, okay, fine, use that credit card to pay for stuff for your employees, and then your company will reimburse you. So that's normally how that works. So those are the two types of credit cards. Now, within a personal credit card and to a degree a business credit card, there's also different types of credit cards. For example, you got a regular credit card and you got a charge card. Now, there is a difference between the two, but it's not that big of a difference. The bottom line is this: both cards have reward multipliers, they both have sign-up bonuses, and they both have APRs, interest, and annual fees that you must be mindful of. But if you really want to know the full difference between the two, I will have a link for that in the description box below, or you can do your own research regarding the difference between a regular credit card and a charge card. And by the way, regarding charge cards, you only gonna see those from American Express. So their platinum card, their gold card, and the green card, those are examples of charge cards, and those will be the only three charge cards that you see me talk about within this channel. So looking at this, there's 6 tiers of credit cards that you need to be mindful of. Well, technically 4 to 5 actually, but we still gonna bring up all 6 just in case, because not everybody gonna start off on the same slate. Some of y'all may be at a different stage in your financial career than others, so that's why we're going to bring up all 6 tiers. So we're going to start off with tier 1, and this is basically the baby step right here. And there's 3 different types of baby credit cards. You got your secure credit cards, your credit builder cards, and your student credit cards. So what's the difference between the 3? Well, the first 2. Obviously, the student credit card is obvious, but let's start off with the secure card. So the secure card is a card where the bank don't trust you yet. For whatever reason, it might be because your credit limit might be low, or you might be new to the credit card game and you're out of college, whatever the case may be. So there might not be a good reason for that credit card company or bank to not trust you yet, to the point where you're applying for all these upper tier cards or even mid tier cards and maybe even starter cards. So starting from the bottom, this is where you're at right here, the secure card. So here's how this works. Basically, you're gonna give the bank money. Let's say you give them $500. So they're gonna take that $500 that you gave the bank, they're gonna put it in a credit card and say, here you go. And then they wanna see what you do with that credit card. Because basically the bottom line is this: if you're late on payments, then they'll say, oh, okay, we're gonna take out the interest from your credit card, that $500 that you put on the card. So they wanna see how well you do with a credit card, but in this case, it's not their money, it's your money. So it's basically a debit card, but it's like on a trial credit card basis. That's basically what this is. So if you can prove to the bank that, yo, you know how to use a credit card, that, yeah, you can make your payments on time and you're using it, then yeah, they will take you off of a secure credit card and put you on an unsecured credit card. The next step up is a credit builder card. So instead of you giving the bank money and then they say, yo, here's a credit card with your money, it's you taking your money and putting it in a checking account with that bank. And then they'll give you a credit card, and if you're late with your payments or anything like that, they're going to automatically take it out from your checkings account. So an example of this is the Chase Freedom Rise card. So if you're trying to apply for a Chase credit card because you got an account with them, whatever the case may be, and you're constantly being denied from everything, even their starters cards, which we'll talk about in a future video, Then you can apply for the Chase Freedom Rise. As long as you have a certain amount of money in your credit account, then you should be approved. So if it's 200, then cool. If it's 500, then it's fantastic. At that point, it's up to you to prove to them that you are trustworthy with a credit card. And once you prove that, then you can apply for another credit card, another Chase credit card in this case. And then of course we have the student credit card. Now the student credit card is as it sounds. You are part of a university, and then the university will get you a credit card. Depending on how much credit you get, it also depends on how good your grades are. So you got to keep your grades up to get a really good student credit card, or one with a really good credit limit. So that's basically what a student credit card is. And those are the 3 baby cards here. Not a lot of people are going to be geared towards tier 1, but if your credit score is really bad, your credit history is really bad, if you have problems making payments on time, but you still want a credit card, or you still want to get into the credit card game and you want to shape it up, you have to start here. So there you go with that. Now let's talk about the spot where most people will start at, myself included, when you step foot inside the credit card game, and that would be tier 2, aka the starter cards. Now with the starter cards, you're gonna get no annual fee. You're gonna get 0 APR for a certain amount of time, normally between 12 to 18 months. And you're gonna get a low sign-up bonus. So it should be something along the lines of, if you spend $500 with this credit card within the next 3 months of you getting the card, we're gonna give you $200 in points or miles. By the way, from this point going forward in this channel, we're just gonna call them points. We're not gonna alternate between points and miles. We're just gonna call them points to keep things simple. And if I say $200 in cash back, we're not talking about that, because again, we are part of Team Travel. So instead of saying $200, we're going to say 20,000 points, because $200 equals 20,000 points. That's normally how these things works. So we're going to keep it simple. And in this case, we're going to call it 20,000 points. So with a starter credit card, you're not going to get a lot of benefits. So for example, you're not going to get access to the lounges. You're not going to get credit that you can use towards products and other services like a TSA pre-check or global entry or anything like that. So that is the characteristics of a starter card. But the one thing I will say is this: normally with a starter credit card, they are easy to get. Normally, there may be some exceptions, capital 1, but normally a starter card is easy to get. Now we're gonna move up to tier 3, and now we at the mid-tier credit cards. So some of the things that you normally see in the starter credit card, you ain't gonna see them here. So for example, 0 APR for a certain time frame, you ain't gonna see that here. No annual fee, you ain't gonna see that here for the most part. A low sign-up bonus, you ain't gonna see that here for the most part. So what will you see here? So you're gonna see an annual fee of $95 to $250. So you're gonna see that here. You're gonna see a higher sign-up bonus. So we're talking about between 60,000 to 75,000 points, maybe 80,000, and that's normally along the lines if you spend like $4,000 to $6,000 within 3 to 6 months, something along those lines. You're gonna get more benefits. So now we're talking about credit towards restaurants, hotels, travel, Uber, Lyft, etc. So you're gonna get more benefits, but not a lot, but you're gonna get some benefits, more so than a starter card. And these mid-tier cards, they're kind of hard to get. I'm not saying it's impossible to get these, but they are kind of hard to get. And also these mid-tier credit cards, they are that major thing that you need to transfer your points over to travel partners. So yes, these banks and credit card companies, they have a working partnership with these travel companies like Delta, like American Airlines, like Alaskan Airlines, like Marriott Hotels, like Hyatt, and etc. So you can transfer your points from the bank and credit card companies over to these travel partners, which is really what you want to do as a part of Team Travel. Now we're gonna go to tier 4. And tier 4 are the business credit cards. The business credit cards are to a degree similar to a personal credit card in terms of the fact that they do have reward multipliers, they do have sign-up bonuses, normally higher than personal credit cards, and they could either have 0 APR for a certain frame, or they could not have 0 APR. And like I said near the beginning of this video, you kind of need to have a business to get a business credit card. Now, it's not along the lines of, oh, you have to be a part of a major company and then your boss telling you to get whatever the case may be. No, you could do a solo thing where you could be like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a music producer, I run errands for Uber, I deliver food, I pick up, drop off people, and I need a business credit card so I can make purchases to improve my gear, to improve my setup, for gas money, something like that. And depending on who you're talking to, they will more than likely give you a business credit card, although Chase has been making changes, but you can normally get a business credit card if you're a solo act, so to speak. Now, the one good thing about applying for a business credit card, whether you are approved or denied, is that it will not affect your personal credit score unless you apply with Capital One. And there's another one. I don't remember what the other one is. I'm not going to say any names, but I know one of them, Capital One. Do not apply for a business credit card with Capital One. That will affect your credit score. Don't do it. And basically, business credit cards, they kind of in the middle of starters and mid-tier credit cards, or they are around that range rather. And to be honest, this one is skippable. So if you don't want to go for business credit cards because you don't want to juggle a bunch of credit cards, or you believe that you will not be accepted for a business credit card, then you can totally get this tier. You don't need it really, but I would say if you're confident enough to do it, if you know what you're doing, then go for it, because those sign-up bonuses are huge, especially the ones from Chase. And now we are at tier 5. So now we're talking about the upper tier credit cards. So we talk about the big boy credit cards here. We talk about credit cards that have an annual fee of $270 and higher. So we talk about mid-high to high sign-up bonuses, not mid to high, mid-high to high sign-up bonuses. So something along the lines of 75,000 to 120,000 credit card points. I haven't seen higher than that, but you can only get that if you spend like $4,000 to $10,000 within 3 to 8 months of you getting a card, or something crazy like that. And with an upper tier credit card, you get even more benefits. So now we're talking lounge access. We're talking even more credit towards restaurants, travel, Uber, Lyft, etc. And we're talking about credit they can use towards TSA PreCheck, towards Global Entry, towards Clear, towards Nexus, and things of that nature. And with these cards, they normally have no point transaction fees, which is something that some mid-tier credit cards have. But if you really want a credit card that have no point transaction fees, this is the one right here. Now, some of these are harder to get, Venture X from Capital One, but not all of them. So keep that in mind as well. And just like with the mid-tier credit cards, the upper tier credit cards are your way of transferring your points from these credit card companies / banks over to their travel partners, like again Hyatt and Alaska Airlines and things of that nature. And then we got tier 6, the elite credit cards. Now with these credit cards, you have to fulfill some type of requirement in order for the credit card company or the bank to even think about giving you one of these credit cards. And normally with these credit cards, we're talking about over $400 in terms of that annual fee. And these types of credit cards are mostly associated with travel companies, so like airlines and hotels. Now granted, American Express got an elite credit card, their black card, even though they have another name, I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but American Express have one. But don't worry about these types of cards, because more than likely you're not going to see one in person unless you're watching a YouTube video and you see someone unbox one or something along those lines. And don't worry about this tier right here. So you have nothing to worry about with this tier. So that's pretty much it. So those are all the types of credit cards that are out there that are available for you for the most part. In case you're wondering which credit cards should you get and in what order should you get them, I have one such idea for a certain amount of credit cards that belong to one well-known bank. You might know what that bank is, and you might know what those credit cards are, but you have to wait and see for my next video to drop to see what they are. This is True Inferno, and I'll see you guys next time.